think we are live.
Yeah, you should be.
Yes.
Aba,
Hey, Reddit Regal, hello.
siyang naunang maggalaw ng baso. Hindi si Bruce Lim.
Glendale. Glendale, hello as well. Bruce. Yeah, there's Bruce.
Ano ba, Emil? Nag-attendance check ka ba?
No, I'm just mentioning the people who just came into the stream. So hello to you guys. So we're live on TikTok as well.
Ba si Ninang Abi paparamdam for the first time in a while.
Yeah, she's here for the announcement. What could it be?
Neil, you don't have to listen to both podcasts at the same time, but we appreciate you keeping us in your ear holes, man. Hi to Awi, who is stranded. Sucks, man. I'm sorry. Sorry that you're stranded.
Ina has a question regarding the grid that we've been posting recently. She's asking what year did AJ Styles wrestle in the Thunder Show? Probably 2001, like before WCW closed, right? He was in a tag team.
Yeah.
With,
Yeah. Tsaka, the game isn't super serious. You can change your answer anytime you want. It's fine.
And if you really want
I'm not
proof,
giving out.
WWE's YouTube channel actually posted the AJ Styles Thunder match. Nandun yung date.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Tsaka wala naman tayong prize. Wala naman tayong cash prize for now.
Yeah. It's just for fun. Like our
Yeah, it's for
brain.
fun. Change your answers. I told Rowan one of his answers was wrong kanina. And he changed it. Kasi hindi siya marunong basa.
Wala rin namang rarity score. Di naman to hoop grids or immaculate.
Yeah, I'm not calculating. I'm not calculating. No, I mean it's fine if you wanna. I encourage it to make your answers rare. Like kanina, Main Max gave us a humorous mention.
Wow, that's a deep cut.
That is a really deep cut. Saying hey to JAT on TikTok, Jericho versus Osprey at All In. Will be great, yeah. I think it will be. Yung nga, sabi ni Jericho, it was in the making for 2 years.
I think a lot of people are gonna be surprised with that match. I just feel like.
Sure. Yeah. That grid game is getting harder, but only because I didn't want to repeat earlier prompts right now. Like, eventually I will have to repeat stuff, pero I'm trying to keep it as different as possible at the moment.
Yep.
Kaya mahirap siya.
I haven't even answered today's grade.
Yeah.
Because it's so
Saying
hard.
hi to Paul, saying hi to JAT, saying hi to Maxwell, Edge Cena. What's my dream match? I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I'm too far gone. My dream match is myself versus Bryan Danielson. That's it. It's time for the show to start in a few seconds. Shut up.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Welcome to the big time!
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov. This is Star.
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles, and you are listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You are watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Romoran, and Emil ASH checking in on another Thursday night live stream. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in, everyone who's joining us on the podcast, whether it's on the live stream, on Facebook, on YouTube, or on TikTok, or even on the audio-only versions in case you don't have time to join us on a Thursday night. Thank you for keeping us with you through your weekend as we process all of the wrestling feels. It's another big week for us here on the show. Ang dami nating pag-uusapan, so let's take care of some housekeeping stuff first. So Emil ASH, why don't you do your usual plug for the Patreon and let the people know how they can support the Wrestling Podcast.
Alright, so you can support the podcast by subscribing to our Patreon program at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast. First low was $5, or in a local currency, it's around 260 pesos. So you'll get you get benefits being part of the Patreon program. Of course, you can join in on our Discord community where we host watch parties, and in the next coming weeks we're gonna have a lot of watch parties, all in, all out, and also payback. So if you want to join in on all the watch party fun, for payback we're gonna have a watch party with Tagalog commentary. So if you wanted to join in on
if
that,
you like it, right? I mean,
if you like, yeah.
if it's cool with you, kung okay lang sa inyo, di ba?
Nakakaya naman.
No, nakakaya naman kung di na nag-stone yung Tagalog commentary.
Yeah, so yeah, and also we with the Pasabays, which we're doing something new here. If you become a part of the Patreon program, you get some friendly rates, and all that stuff. Also, the review content of the weekly wrestling shows, courtesy of Raw and ASH. And by supporting the Patreon program, you're supporting everything that we do, and thus we'll be able to do more activities for our fellow podcasts, so that everyone here could have some fun. So again, all of that is possible if you subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast. Again, first though, that's $5.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Right. You missed quite a
clarify
few
lang
points.
namin
Yeah.
ano.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go.
pag sinabi naming friendly rates with the pasabay, it's for the service fee. Like, we can't give you
Yes.
discounts on the actual
Yeah,
online
on the
stores.
That's what I meant. I forgot about
Yeah.
I'll say it again. Yeah.
Hindi pa
that's fine.
namin
That's
kaya
fine.
yun.
Oh,
Yeah.
wala kaming hindi kami may-ari ng WWE shop.
So, hindi namin kaya magbigay ng discount doon. Yung service fee, yun, kaya namin.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah,
All right.
No,
sorry,
we got
go ahead.
another. We got another event. But before I say that, saying hey to Maxwell Edge Cena on TikTok, asking me if I'm a wrestler. Yes, I'm a wrestler. I did have a match with Jake De Leon. I'm the skinny mask guy he was throwing around, and beat him eventually. Anyway, we have another event as well, other than the watch parties. Syempre, we have Payback. We have All In on the Discord because nobody said hey, we want it on a live viewing party. So, imbis na yun, we will have a different live event up in the works for you. On September 23, that's a Saturday. 23, that's a Saturday. We will be having the return of the quiz night. We don't have a name for it yet. It's going to be a wrestling quiz night. It's the first one we'll be holding in years, literal years, since before the pandemic. But it will be... Hi, Joko, hindi pa tapos yung announcement. It will be at... This is not the announcement, by the way. It will be at our friends from Hobby Stadium at New Manila, Quezon City. And syempre, we'll be having it there dun sa kanilang bar area. If we can fill the whole place, even better. But up for grabs in that in that quiz night will be a box of WWE trading cards and some gift certificates to Hobby Stadium, which is a big deal because ang dami nilang good stuff, good hobby stuff, cards, figures, and all that good stuff up for grabs. So, sali kayo guys, sali kayo, and let's make this a thing. Let's have more events like this, and we can make the most out of our friendships with our partners from Hobby Stadium and Skinny Mike Sports Bar as well. So it's gonna be 350 pesos with a free iced tea thrown in. We don't have a name for it yet. We don't know how. We're figuring out rather how you can get tickets. So stay tuned for all of those details. It's gonna be September 23. That is a Saturday night, and we'll see you all there at Hobby Stadium. And then, syempre, is there anything? Yeah. I'm done
I think we've covered everything for quiz night. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Let me talk to you.
Time for us to give you the big announcement that we actually announced and hyped on social media. So it is time for the announcement para sa mga natatakot kung na-late ba sila, na-delay ba sila. No, you are not late because you are just in time for said announcement. And because you are in time for said announcement, then I think it is time that we actually get to said announcement. So let me give you a proper drum roll for said announcement. Our announcement is that this is officially the graduation of one Emil ASH.
Oh, wow!
Hit it! Hit it, Jasper! Nakasan mo pa! Tas pa!
What?
There you go. Do your march, Emil.
Ladies and
Officially a
gentlemen,
show
Emil ASH is now officially a show host. He has
Oh, wow!
put in the work, put in the time, joined us for the live stream every week whenever he can. Syempre, he's watched wrestling to the best of his ability, and now he is a full-fledged show host. You can, you don't have to be an ASH anymore.
Oh.
So, since you were caught completely unaware, what do you have to say for yourself, Emil ASH? Emil,
Wow.
just Emil at this point.
Oh, wow. I am speechless. I don't know what to say kasi again,
Kasi di mo alam. Wala kang alam.
yeah, because I don't know. Pero like, I can't believe na I'll reach this point na I'm officially now a show host since I was just a fan a year ago actually. I don't know if it's exactly a year ago kasi it's August last year where I volunteered myself on a random Wednesday morning where Ro was asking because he
Kasi wala yung iba.
Wala yung iba. So Ro just asked the Discord who's willing to to be a guest host, and I volunteered myself kasi why not? I mean, it's one of my dreams, dreams to talk wrestling, to be in a podcast. So I volunteered myself, and then the rest is, they say, is history. So
I know, you were on a roll and then you had to go for the cliche, the rest is history.
sorry. Again, thank you so much.
Yamana. It's impromptu.
Thank you so much to everyone. Stan, Ro, Chino, Rowan, and also the Pod Network as well. Thank you so much. I was caught off guard, honestly. So thank you so much. I'm just so happy. Yeah, someone here with a comment. I finished my story.
I have to finish the
Jace said on
story.
TikTok, our friend Jace, says the boyhood dream has come true.
We're going with the all wrestling cliches. Yeah. So again, thank you so much. Wow, very. Akala ko it was about something else. So thank you so much.
Would have been fun if we
biruin mo-
actually future endeavored you live on the show, but no.
Biruin nyo guys, from a paying patron, Emil worked his way up to becoming an official wrestling podcast show host. So you know what that means. If you have dreams of being on here, better start paying up first.
Mga mukhang pera kami. Tumataas na mga presyo ng mga
Kala nyo
bayarin.
libre to?
Oo. Kailangan nga natin magkaanak, di ba? Para lumit yung debt per capita.
The months that he paid $5 was his entry fee to the ASH program.
Oh, enrollment yung Patreon, sabi ni Admin Jackie. Tama yan, tama.
Yeah.
Alright, so
yeah,
congratulations, Emil Nate, officially a show host. Actually, ASH pa lang sina Emil and Rowan. Na-shoot na sila ng The Pod Network, di ba? So, ganyan kami generous
Yeah.
mga ASH namin on the Wrestling Podcast.
To be fair, we did come to this decision before the shoot. So we actually considered telling you at the shoot, pero I had the bright idea of telling you live on air without your absolute prior knowledge.
To see you shit bricks live
Makes
on
for
the
a better
live stream.
moment.
Worth it! All right,
Yeah, thank you.
time to get
Thanks
to some business. Congratulations again to Emil, ASH, or formerly ASH.
It's just Emil.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
Emil
just
now.
Emil.
Just Emil now. All right, let's talk about some actual wrestling that we actually all watch. Let's start with SmackDown. And Edge returned on SmackDown this past weekend. In-announced niya that with SmackDown being in his hometown of Toronto this weekend, he'd like to have a match. Called out Sheamus, referenced yung history nila both in real life and the fact that in WWE hindi pa sila nagmi-meet inside a ring. So he challenged Sheamus to a match, and in the days since that match was announced and confirmed for Toronto this weekend, meron mga rumors na lumabas that Edge might be having his last match in Toronto against Sheamus. So, marami sa ating nagulat, na blindside, because, you would have expected that for a 25-year veteran like Edge, with regard to his WWE run in itself, he would have a big WrestleMania type of send-off. But apparently, if totoo nga tong rumors na lumalaganap, this coming weekend SmackDown could be the last time we see Edge as an actual in-ring competitor. So, Emil, what are your thoughts about this?
Nakagulat lang din kasi initially I thought like months before, I think he cut a promo on a post-show Raw or post-Raw na he said he's planning to retire at SummerSlam nung SummerSlam just this past month, but it didn't happen. So I thought, maybe he's gonna stay a little bit longer. He's gonna maybe extend to another WrestleMania next year. Pero all of these are baka rumors pa lang to. We are still not sure. I thought nga that angle that they did on SmackDown was probably a start of a program between Sheamus and Edge. So I'll believe it when I see it. Pero if it's true na he's retiring this weekend, I am glad na he will get to retire on his own terms. Unlike nung first retirement niya na it was so out of nowhere na people like he didn't prepare for his retirement, like it was out of the blue. So, and I'm also glad na at least he got a second run, and younger fans like me na hindi ko inabutan yung first run ni Edge. Younger fans like me got to see a chance to see him wrestle and see why he's one of the best to ever do it.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Ro,
Yeah.
you're an Edge head like me. How do you feel about this blindside of an announcement? Or blindside of a rumor?
I'm not blindsided. He did say that he wanted to retire last year in Toronto. He knew that there was a Toronto show around this time. SummerSlam 2023 wasn't going to be in Toronto kasi I think they pencil booked this Friday for Toronto, and syempre obviously it's Friday, so you can't do SummerSlam on Friday. So I think it tracks. I just don't know why they didn't build up to it. I don't understand why. It lines up with what he wanted to do, what he said he wanted to do last year. Pero di ko gets bakit di nila hype. Bakit they just did 1 week of hype leading up to this, like Tony Khan would. So I think there might be a red herring on the way. I feel like they're actually building up to a match at Payback. I also don't know if there is a match at Payback, if that would be the final match in Edge. It would be weird because syempre it's not a big major event, but he did say that he just wanted to get out of it in Toronto, and if that happens, then it's what he wants, and that's let the man rest.
Mm-hmm. Question from Janelle in the chat. Kung totoo to, is there someone you wish you would have wrestled before hanging up the boots? Ikaw, Emil.
Christian. Now, he was the one that when I was thinking about the final match that Edge would have, I always thought it would be against his best friend Christian. And it's unfortunate na Christian went to another promotion, and it's hindi naman sa imposible na mangyari, but it's kind of unlikely that it will happen.
I mean, they've wrestled before, like when they were much younger, but I get what you mean na in this late stage of their career, after both of them have beat the odds and come back from retirement.
Yes.
Ikaw, Ro, any dream Edge opponent?
Any dream Edge opponent? I don't know. He's done everything. I don't know. I don't see him. He's already wrestled Bryan Danielson as well, although not in a singles match, I think. Done Roman Reigns then. I don't know. Kenny Omega, fellow Canadian, maybe. I'd like to see what kind of match you could pull out of Kenny, because they're both really good late game clutch wrestlers. So maybe that. Sige, maybe that.
Yeah, apparently Daniel Bryan and Edge have faced each other like 12 years ago, nung first tail end nung first run ni Edge. So there's that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sabi ni babyface producer Jasper backstage, Jeff Hardy raw. Late career Jeff Hardy versus late career Edge.
Why? But why?
We had that rivalry, di ba, nung late 2000s?
Yeah. Oh my, exactly. And that was already that was Jeff like at his best, I think.
Yeah, that was prime Jeff. Yeah.
Etong si Angelo Quartero, sabi niya, Matt Hardy won last time. Do we really want to stoke those old feelings again?
No, they're not. Hindi naman sila magkaaway, you know. Obviously, they're both way moved on from Lita separately, so they wouldn't have real beef. So that feud wouldn't have as much smoke as you think it might.
Yeah. Itong si Admin Angelo, sabi raw, a new up-and-comer, missed opportunity si Grayson. How is Grayson Waller a missed opportunity? I'd like to think that Edge actually put Grayson Waller over.
Yeah.
You don't need like a full-on program. They wrestled a great match. It was technically the main event of that episode because it was just a segment in the closing it was just a segment towards the end of that episode. So as far as I'm concerned, I think Edge and Grayson Waller did their thing.
Yep. And he did give Grayson Waller the rub then.
Yeah. Eto maganda from Albert, Dominic daw, to get him back for that low blow.
Yeah, no, they never followed that up. I mean, they did,
that's a good one.
They never had a match, yeah.
Yeah. I would have wanted to see Edge versus Dominic Mysterio. All right, moving on to more stuff from SmackDown. Jimmy Uso finally explained himself. Ito, pinag-usapan natin to ng konti during the Pick of the Week stream. And I gotta ask the chat, were you satisfied with this explanation? Kasi all three of us, we kind of have been able to flesh it out, diba? And just for the benefit of those who didn't get to catch yung Pick of the Week episode, which we dropped yesterday, my takeaway from this is Jimmy still comes across as a heel kahit na rooted in love yung intentions niya. Kasi he never gave his brother the chance to prove him wrong, na hindi si Jey mako-corrupt if he ever became tribal chief and the universal champion. So, because Jimmy still doesn't trust Jey, parang, ano sinasabi mo na, di ba, wala kang tiwala sa kapatid mo, wala kang tiwala sa kambal mo. So, heelish pa rin si Jimmy Uso dito. Any new thoughts for you guys, Emil or Rose, since the Pick of the Week stream?
No. I'm still happy with it. Like, I still don't think Jimmy is like a full heel. Again, as I mentioned, if you guys haven't listened to it yet, pakinggan nyo. But they're doing really well with the Shades of Grey here. Pretty good stuff. I don't fully believe. I don't think anyone here fully believes. If you understand what's going on, you don't fully believe na Jimmy was the bad guy. He was just caught up in a moment of doubt and paranoia. Apparently, this time it is paranoia and the Usos. So
yes.
So yun. I still like it. It gives Jimmy a really human motivation, even though it's a little Machiavellian in its execution. Pero my favorite part of this again is Jey just flipping everyone off and just bouncing from WWE in the bloodline. Like, who wouldn't want to just leave a whole toxic environment and family situation, especially after you made all that money anyway, diba? Parang you don't need this. Hindi ko kailangan tong fucked up family members ko. My fucked up twin brother, my fucked up younger brother, my fucked up cousin, diba? And this fucked up wise man. And I'm happy for him. And I think that was like one of the most human things that one can do, diba? nobody had to write Jey as putting himself through all of that stuff, all of that toxicity. And when the time comes for them to bring Jey back, I'm sure they'll also find a great way to bring him back and make it make sense within his character's motivation. So, yeah, I highly enjoyed it. I understand again if most people don't, because it's not a good ending. It's not Jey Uso becoming WWE champion and becoming the tribal chief. I understand that. Gets scared. Pero for what it is, for the kind of story I like to see, I think it delivered. It's just a matter of not getting what we want.
Ikaw, Emil, what do you think about this comment from Glendale? Sabi raw niya, Roman was right. Jimmy was pulling Jey down.
Yeah.
I still need to think about that statement kasi pero ito yung parang weird interesting thing na naisip ko lang just now, no. Jimmy's reasoning to what he did is he didn't want Jey to become the tribal chief and absorb all the corrupt powers that Roman have. But there was a promo months ago in which Jimmy, when he said, I don't know if this is completely accurate, but he said like he's the tribal chief, si Jimmy. So so that is an interesting wrinkle to all of this. So maybe Glendale maybe has a point here, pero that still needs to be determined. Kasi as of right now, the reasoning of Jimmy is that like he doesn't want Jey to be corrupted. You know?
Yeah. Maganda tong binring up ni Ninong Derv, one of our patrons, yung comment ni Jimmy na I am the tribal chief. Kasi especially given the way that they've told this story na they really call back to a lot of things that have been said and done throughout this entire arc, you kind of feel like nothing is said willy-nilly. So parang pag sinabi yun or pag ginawa yun, intentional yun. So curious ako to see kung paano siya mabuweave into the larger story because that line could not have been thrown out there for nothing.
Yeah. They could call back to it. They could not. I am not sure. I like to say a lot of things, but we can see. I do agree though that I think the next feud is Jimmy versus Roman. They did plant that seed because they did say Roman, what Jimmy did had nothing to do with Roman, diba? And then he still was pretty clearly defying Roman. So that doesn't mean that he's back in the bloodline under them, diba? So I do think yun yung susunod. But for the bigger picture, I think it's also in Roman's best interest if they went back to having someone else outside of the whole story chase after his championship. Because I think despite my like for it, my liking for it, a lot of people still are kind of tired of the whole thing, and I think they would benefit from a change of scenery for now. You can always come back to it, though. It's always just on pause. It's never done for good. It's not like Jey rather has really quit the company. So babalik naman din yan. Probably around Royal Rumble or WrestleMania season. So let's do someone else. There are so many other possible contenders on SmackDown, diba? Like hell, put LA Knight in there. I don't know, who cares? Let's have something different. I think people are raring then for a new story. We did have the whole bloodline thing for the first 8 months of the year, from Sammy to Cody and all that stuff. So ibahin na natin for now.
Could be time.
Kumbaga sa TV show, this is like the break, that they need in order to then a few months later they can begin the storyline again with the new with the new plot possibly. So.
I get it. I get na a lot of you are tired of the bloodline story being stretched out like this. But the way I would want things to happen, it would be pretty cool if we still got that 4-way at Survivor Series with an Uso in every corner. I think that would be a great way to end the calendar year. Kasi diba Survivor Series is essentially the final PLE of the calendar year. So I think it's a great way to just blow everything off. And then after that big 4-way, maybe they can all go back to their separate feuds. And maybe another new contender na hindi taga Bloodline can resurface and face Roman after Survivor Series. But again, we'll see what happens. Kasi ang dami pang pwedeng mangyari until Survivor Series, for example. And right now, where we're only in mid-August. Right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll talk about stuff that happened on Raw, a a lot of stuff that happened on Raw, and Rey Mysterio's United States Championship win. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. All right, let's go to Raw where we got to flesh out, or where we got to see Shinsuke Nakamura flesh out yung motivations niya, why he attacked Seth Rollins. So, big shout out to HD Subs over on Twitter kasi sila yung medyo masipag mag-translate ng mga promos na Asuka, Io Sky, and now Shinsuke Nakamura. We all wish, diba, that the subtitles could be there live, but because it's a live program, medyo imposible yun. So, we just gotta give credit to those people, those content creators na masipag to get the clips and then actually put subtitles. Kasi what apparently, yung promo ni Shinsuke, what it apparently means is that he wants to assert himself, he's fed up of everything and everyone, maybe even himself. So gusto niyang malive out na yung kanyang true nature. So I guess he was implying na he'd been held back, he'd been put in a little box, and it's time for the real Shinsuke Nakamura to be exposed to the world. Tapos sinabi pa niya na kicking Seth in the head was the quickest way he could prove himself. Emil, are you satisfied with this?
Oh, definitely. I am satisfied with the way he presented himself on Raw. Very different from his first heel run, which this is probably their chance to rectify that, because I didn't really like his first heel run where
Low blow Nakamura?
Yeah, low blow. I didn't like that. But this is a much more meaner, much more darker Shinsuke Nakamura, which I'm all for. I'm all for this. Maybe we will see a glimpse of the Nakamura that was loved in NJPW, and I'm glad that they're taking a step in the right direction here with making him a legit threat to Seth Rollins' title reign.
I did say that it was going to be, as Glendale said, I thought it was going to be the original King of Strong Style, not the guy who came over from New Japan, who was practically a face because everyone loved him, but the asshole who started becoming this overly flamboyant version of Michael Jackson and Freddie Mercury, diba? And he stiffed people in the face with his knee to win championships and be the greatest and IWGP Intercontinental Championship in the history of NJPW. So I think that's what's coming back. And actually, I was waiting for him to outdress Seth Rollins on Monday, and that didn't happen. But I do think he's been teasing it for a while. Like I said last week, I thought that the whole thing with Ciampa was the actual turn, but may ito turn pa pala siya. So expect it. It's up to him rather if he wants to exert all that effort into becoming who he was like over a decade ago. So kasi he's been living out his best dreams as a late career wrestler in the US. But he's made all this bones and money being a hardcore really stiff poor wrestler in Japan. So you do get to take a break. But if he's being given this ball, I do think it's on him then. I think he realizes that he has to go back to his old self. But I am not sure how long he can sustain that. It is pretty taxing. That's why I think he left then New Japan to try to make his luck here in the US. So good luck na lang sa kanya is what I'm trying to say. Kasi a lot of people have been worn down from working in Japan, not just in NJPW, but in Japan in general. So I would like to see if he can channel that old self in Triple H's Raw and WWE.
Yeah, if there's a way to go to that, Triple H and Shinsuke and all the other agents can work together to maybe water that style down a bit or make it more.
No, the thing is, it's already watered down. That's why people have not been as high on Nakamura this entire WWE run outside of his debut NXT match with Sami Zayn. That match was the last vestige, I think, of the old NJPW Nakamura. That's why people loved it. Parang, okay, if you haven't seen me yet, this is who I am. And then after that, it wasn't the same anymore. That's the problem. It has been watered down. So I don't know if he can go back to the way he wrestled versus Muto earlier this year, diba? Can you do that? And can you do that every week? Can you do that every month? Every month, yeah, before. But now, can you still do that? So that's what I would like to see because it really has been different. I don't think it's different in a bad way, pero it is different. And it's not the Nakamura that Triple H originally signed to NXT.
People here in the chat are asking kung ano yung magiging heel theme ni Shinsuke. If it's gonna be subconscious, yung theme niya in New Japan, or the heel theme that he went out to back in the late 2010s. What do you guys think? Kasi ako, my vote would be Lil Uzi Vert. Like, it has to be that song.
Has to be Uzi. You gotta take advantage of the current mainstream thing. I mean, the old song was nice, pero this new one is pretty cool too. Like, I know that not everyone likes trap and hip hop, the current hip hop, pero it's big, and syempre, I think that's gonna pull in some mainstream audiences because they'd hear the cool song, the cool theme, and decide to check it out. And who knows, you might convert a new fan.
Yeah. Glendale's asking, do you think this Shinsuke Nakamura needs a heel manager? I don't think so.
No.
I think he's fine on his own. Like, we were able to wait a day for the HD Subs Twitter account.
No as well. He's fine without a manager.
Yeah. He doesn't need it. He just has to be badass. Parang Asuka didn't need a manager, diba? When she dominated in NXT, she just had to kick ass, and that's what Nakamura has to do.
Yeah. A lot of the Japanese stars naman who have come over, diba? Nakamura, Asuka, Io, they just are. They don't need managers. They just are. All right, let's move on to the women's tag team division. And meron mga nagpo-post since Sonya Deville's injury na cursed daw yung women's tag team championship because someone always gets injured, the titles have to be vacated and all of that. And now we're seeing that Chelsea Green has at least held on to both championships in light of Sonya Deville being sidelined with that ACL injury. And then I actually like what they did here where Chelsea had been posting on social media. Meron siyang Chelsea's Got Talent na pakulo. She was taking applications, and then Piper Niven comes from off-screen, takes the belt, and basically declares herself Chelsea's new tag team championship partner. Emil, what do you think of this direction they're taking?
I like it. Again, vacating the titles again would destroy all the momentum that Chelsea Green has been having in the last few months. Because she's on the stride there. She's been on this great run all the way to winning the tag team championship. So I like it. I would like it if maybe this is just something crazy. Na what if each and every week or each and every couple of weeks there's a different partner na there's a different tag team partner.
Raw guest tag team partner.
Yeah. Like, diba? Might as well, diba? Then until Sonya gets healed. So why not? Just maybe a crazy idea. Might just work.
Oh well, can you get through Piper Niven at this point? Okay. If you were a woman in the women's division, you wanted to be Chelsea Green's new tag team partner. Kaya mo bang tapatan si Piper Niven?
Good luck with that.
Quick thoughts on Lacey Evans leaving WWE. Goodbye. Sorry, I ain't gonna miss you. Yeah, I ain't gonna miss you. I mean, I'm okay with Piper. I'm a big Piper Niven fan. If you guys haven't seen all the Piper Niven stuff on NXT UK, you're missing out. Piper Niven is essentially what Nia Jax wants to be or should be, but is not for whatever reason. Piper Niven is one of the best big women wrestlers that they have in the whole history, I think. And it is due for I think she is due for her time, even though it did come in a weird way. Syempre, di natin inaasahan na you just walk up and demand that you be the new tag team partner of a vacant tag team champion team. So that's pretty funny. I do agree with it. Nakakaumay na rin to have it to have the belts be vacated again, or to be lost again. It has just come off of a bad stretch. So okay na rin that they thought of this. I think nobody would mind, really. I don't know what the curse is. I'm trying to figure out a physiological reason bakit ganito nangyayari sa mga women. Can't just be I don't think it's just the stress of the schedule ng WWE. I don't think it's that. So, but it also is some sort of freak thing. So I'm trying to figure out why the tag team champions are the ones getting the bad luck. So I don't know. Pag-isipan natin. I'll think about it, and I'll find out what I can find out.
I mean, I highly doubt that the championships were placed over some mythological creature, di ba? Na sinumpa kung sino man yung may hawak ng championships. Like, if you subscribe to Filipino mythology, di ba? I don't think that happened. I don't think said mythological creatures exist over in the States. But, you know, to go back here to some of the comments, ito si our friend Mon, the man who dunked on the league. With regard to Piper just grabbing the title and declaring herself co-champion, Adam Pearce couldn't stop Piper Niven. So, kung kayo kaya, di ba? You have Piper Niven in front of you and she does that, makaka-hindi ka ba? Di ba? Masisindak ka eh.
Tsaka though, Adam Pearce thing was to shut Chelsea up, di ba? The story was Chelsea is being the Karen. So, because Piper Niven was the only person who could shut Chelsea up and impose herself, di ba? Hindi go si Adam Pearce dun.
Yes, logic. Albert asks, is this a new reign for Chelsea? So according to the Wikipedia page on the Women's Tag Team Championship reigns, continuation daw to nung original reign of Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, but they ended Sonya Deville's reign at 28 days when she had to relinquish her half of the championships. And then when Piper Niven took her half, doon nag-start yung reign ni Piper. So technically, hindi synchronous yung reign ni Chelsea and Piper Niven.
Yeah.
So I hope that clears things up. Ganun talaga.
That's weird.
I know.
Oh well, but it's a better
It do
workaround
be like that.
than vacating the championship.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody's happy, aside from people who are getting all riled up by the technicality of it all, which is such a minor detail at this point. Moving on, let's go back to SmackDown here. Rey Mysterio is now your United States champion. And what did you think of this? Kasi people are saying that it was because of the Rey and Escobar match that they had to call off. And then reports came out saying that it was a work injury. So did you see this as a course correction? Let's start with you, Ro.
It's not a work injury. Rey really was injured, it turns out. Nagkamali yung initial reports, or I think initial prediction ni SRS. It really was a whiplash. They really had to do that. But Santos was still supposed to go over. So whether or not he was injured at that match, Santos was still going to win. So I don't understand why they did the bait and switch for Santos, for Rey rather. It might, I guess, have something to do with Dom being the NXT North American champion, pero di ko rin alam eh. Maybe Austin Theory's punished for something, but at the same time, if he was, why isn't Santos the guy to do it, diba? So it's strange. I'm not mad at it, pero I know some people. I know one ASH who might be mad at it, pero
but since
I
he's
don't
not
hate
here,
it.
he can't dish out the hot take.
No, sige, let's give his hot take. I think there is something to it. I think there is a kernel of justification to it. Sige, let's go into Rowan's feelings about this. Kasi he's not here. He pinapasabi na sa amin, para sa inyo, na he thinks that it's weird that the new Rey Mysterio, which is to say the new Latin American star for the WWE, is still Rey Mysterio, even though you have a Santos Escobar who is not a spring chicken. It has to be said. You have all the other Latino stars that have come and gone, but the person they still turn to is one Rey Mysterio. In this regard, there is a point. It could have been Santos. It should have been Santos, but it wasn't Santos. So I agree with that part. But the jury is out because all those other examples about the other quote-unquote new Rey Mysterios or next Rey Mysterios was done under the watchful eye of one Vince McMahon, diba? So he never really knew what to do with all those other guys. Because Rey Mysterio got over on his own because he was also a hot product. He was also a legacy pedigree star coming in from his time in WCW, his time in ECW, diba? It's not like he's coming in totally fresh and blank in the minds of people. So when you have that kind of cash with the crowd, with the audience, syempre, you don't have to work as much. You don't have to work as much into making him a big deal. He's always just going to be a big deal. With the others like Sin Cara, like Kalisto, Alberto Del Rio, even all the other guys, I think he just fumbled that because he didn't really know how to book Latin American star. He didn't know what to do with him. He didn't allow them to get opportunities to form those connections with the crowd like Ray was able to do really quickly. Siyempre, may Cruiserweight Championship pa nun, diba? So it's not fair to compare all of those failed experiments with what's happening now. And I think, again, like with all things, you do have to let it play out and see where they are going. Like, siyempre, again, Ray did win in place of Santos. Maybe there's a bigger plan for Santos in place. Maybe there's an LWO split, like one of so many other splits happening right now. So
do we really need another faction splitting up over the U.S. Championship of all things?
Exactly. So we don't know that yet. So Pao is right. Dom is still the bigger champion kasi he is the North American champion, and apparently Canada is part of North America. So who would have known? Would have thought that, diba? But yeah, I don't think the next Ray is still Ray argument holds right now. I think there is still something to wait for. So Rowan is, I think, half justified in feeling that way. Pero it's all a matter of waiting and seeing. Kasi the story doesn't end after one chapter. Again, like I said nung Picks of the Week episode, it's not over after just this one thing.
Ikaw, Emil.
It was time to end the title reign of Austin Theory kasi
yun.
it has peaked. It has peaked no, I think Mania. That it peaked no Mania, and then I thought he was gonna get the rub from Cena, but I don't know what happened. He disappeared off the face of the earth after that. Pero it was weird for me that Ray won because Santos was the one who won the tournament, and even though nangyari yung match where Ray got injured, he was the one who was written to go over. So in a way, they're penciling in Santos to win the title, but I don't know what happened in between that. So maybe the only way I can make sense of this is, again, we don't want to have another split. We don't want to have another faction splitting, pero that's the only way I could make sense of this. Like, if they're gonna write a story in which there's gonna be a dissolution to the LWO, you know? But aside from that, it's just weird all around.
Yeah, I'm willing to wait it out as well kasi yun nga, they just started telling this story na okay, Santos got taken out by Austin Theory, so Ray came in with the save and then won the US Championship for the LWO. There's also the built-in tension given that Dominic is the North American champion. So that's probably going to affect things for Ray and his championship then. So we'll see what happens here. As Rose said, the story is still being told. Right, one more main roster thing here for the WWE's end, and that is JD McDonough being eased into the Judgment Day. And they've been working on this for the past few weeks, mostly backstage segments, but now it's the first time that JD was actually in the ring with the entire faction. So, Emil, did you like how JD is being fit into the bigger JD?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's time na din eh. Kasi ever since the draft, we have been waiting for this to happen. For JD to get involved with the JD, with the Judgment Day. So I like the steps that they're taking it. Like, they're not Damian, Rhea, and Dom are not really receptive to JD. Right? The only person who's allied with JD is Finn. So that is something that we are still in a wait and see mode. What's gonna happen with that? Is JD gonna be is JD replacing someone in the Judgment Day, or is this maybe just a red herring and JD McDonough is going after the Judgment Day? So this is gonna be a nice story in the next few weeks or few months to follow.
The more I think about it, the more I look at this picture, actually, parang mas okay na Finn just leaves the Judgment Day, teams with JD, since they're literally mentor-mentee, and Damian Priest takes over the leadership of Judgment Day. I think Damian has been showing them that he can actually lead the Judgment Day. Parang it's not weird to see him be the face of the Judgment Day. So parang okay yun sa akin. But at the same time, if we're to believe rumors that JD is being slotted for JD, let's just call him Macdo. Macdo is being slotted for JD. Maybe either Macdo is trying to replace Finn or trying to replace Damian. So I don't know how Dom and Rhea would also turn against Damian. I guess if they do something stupid, I don't know. If he does something stupid and then they don't like it. So maybe that's how. But I like this. I like the way they're making Damian look like a bigger deal than he was like a few months before he even won the Money in the Bank. So okay din to. I think this is the way then for Damian to be an acceptable quote unquote eventual world champion off of Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I see two things happening here. One of them is kind of predictable. This paves the way for Damian Priest's face turn, which I think would be great, diba? Because after everything that Damian Priest has gone through over the last year plus, with the popularity of the Judgment Day and Damian Priest's own stock rising, I think he could be set up for a huge face turn in the coming months, maybe at the start of 2024. But the other thing na nakikita ko rito, which could be interesting, is if Finn gets karma for what he did to Edge when the Judgment Day first started. So JD takes Finn's place and then Finn gets to feel what Edge felt way back when. So that's probably not in anybody's bingo card, but that's a nice little wrinkle to the whole Finn Balor arc, and maybe it could also open the door for a Finn Balor redemption story.
Parang Bullet Club lang eh. Like the leader always gets replaced by someone someone new.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
how apropos.
But I don't want Macdo to lead Judgment Day. I want Damian.
Damian leads the Judgment Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, kasi the event to the Bullet Club analogy, when somebody gets kicked out, the person kicking them out becomes the new leader, or it usually ends up happening that way, diba?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's the WWE, so you don't have to follow the Bullet Club template of doing things.
Sure.
So, we'll see. Yun lang, naisip ko lang right now as we were having the conversation, and as I looked at that photo of the Judgment Day sans Finn, but with JD in there, diba? It could be foreshadowing or something. I don't know. Or it could just be a very nice picture that they posted online.
Saka with the Bloodline story getting a break in the next few weeks or possibly months, this is gonna be the main story in WWE, the Judgment Day and JD McDonough entering the scene.
All right, we'll take another
one last
break.
thing. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
One last thing.
Go.
I think this whole story proves that in the Triple H regime, even if Vince is still hovering in the shadows somewhere, I think that if you have a favorite wrestler and they're pretty good and they're not being used right now, you can just wait. Pwede ka na maghintay-hintay, abangers ka, and then eventually Triple H will get around to them, diba? It's happening now with Macdo. It's happening now with Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae, Shinsuke. Yeah, so everyone in this current regime gets a turn. It's not like before, and you never know when Vince is gonna come around to them, if he's gonna come around to them at all. So I just want all of you guys to remember that, because I know some of you may not like that this or that favorite wrestler is sitting out, is on the bench. Pero, everyone has a time in the sun, has his place in the sun.
In Triple H we trust. And with that, we'll take another break. When we come back, we have some backstage drama to unpack. And of course, it's all based on the rumors that have come out from the previous week over on AEW. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on the Pod Network. Right. Do you want to answer this one from Glendale, who's asking about our thoughts on yung rumor na Triple H might not be part of the Endeavor Board of Directors or the TKO Board of Directors?
I don't know. I mean, the board of directors isn't really to me as a wrestling fan, as a WWE fan. The bigger thing to me is as long as you're still holding the book in creative, that's what matters most. So anyone else is always going to be like the more powerful person as long as they keep you. Let's say if I were the new board, I would keep Triple H because he's pulling in the money. He's drawing the money. He's making historic big events in cities they go to. Every now and then you hear the report now, oh, this or that Raw or SmackDown was the biggest gate in the history of this venue, diba? So if you can see that Triple H is doing the work and pulling in the money that you always want, as everything is about the money, then why would I don't replace him? And that's the most important part. Maybe Vince is going to wrangle his way back into creative, but I think even he, if he really likes money, even he would see the wisdom in stepping back and staying stepped back.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's cross over to AEW and talk about some of the backstage rumors na nakita, napansin, narinig natin over the week. Most of them revolve around CM Punk. So the first one, well, this is not a rumor kasi vinidyo to ng mga tao in attendance at the Collision taping. CM Punk cut a promo after the show went off the air on Hangman Page. Ang sabi-sabi daw is that he got triggered by a sign na parang Hangman was right or it's Hangman country or something kasi they're in Greensboro where Hangman reportedly lives. So meron din rumors na parang Hangman daw was supposed to be in the arena to shoot a segment and then he got sent home. So that's a rumor. Yung sinasabi lang ng mga tao backstage that Punk felt na he could probably talk about Hangman kasi he's not legally restricted from mentioning Hangman, whereas he's legally bound from talking about sina Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks following the events of All Out last year. There was another report na lumabas na CM Punk reportedly sent Matt Hardy and Ethan Page home from Collision kasi dapat daw part sila ng Collision taping and then things changed. There was another rumor na there was an argument between CM Punk and Jack Perry kasi daw si Jack Perry gusto raw gumamit ng real glass in a pre-recorded segment. So some people said raw na.
And then that rumor changed. Apparently, he got mad at Jack Perry for the guy wanting to take a break next week or the next few weeks because it's bad for business now, even though he's not even booked for All In, diba?
Yeah.
So there's that.
There was also the rumor that Angelo Quartero is mentioning in the comments revolving around Ryan Nemeth, yung kapatid ni Dolph Ziggler. Na Ryan Nemeth tweeted out something along the lines of CM Punk being, quote, literally the softest man alive, and then Punk took exception to it, so Ryan Nemeth is no longer part of Collision or something like that. And then there was this rumor then about Christopher Daniels being involved na pati si Christopher Daniels pinauwi from the Collision taping because CM Punk doesn't take too kindly to Christopher Daniels, again following the events of All Out where ang sabi-sabi is that Christopher Daniels was one of the people who was trying to break apart the brawl and siguro Punk must have felt, di natin alam, na kape siya doon sa Elite, di ba? Kasi they're all EVPs
the
of the company.
The context there was if Ace Steel was not going to be allowed to be at tapings, to be at shows, then Christopher Daniels as another agent should also not be allowed. Yun yung sabi-sabi.
Right. One thing to note about Ace Steel na lumabas din off a Fightful Select report earlier is that he's not allowed at the shows because he's considered an insurance risk. So that's kind of weird. The wording is that his contract runs through fall of next year and allows him to seek work outside of AEW. And yun nga, he can't be present at AEW shows because he's considered an insurance risk following the events of All Out. So there, ang dami nangyari. Ro, where do you want to start here?
I mean, I've made my feelings about CM Punk felt a long time ago. I mean, like, this is worse. Jasper in the comments says CM Punk is being a literal TNA Hulk Hogan. Before I start with that, I would like to preface that I was in a Zoom call with Carl Cannon the other day, and he said to keep all our wrestling industry opinions private because you never know who you're gonna work with. But at this point, I'm too far gone. I mean, like, I've been doing this for more than a decade, so Punk's not gonna work with me. So it's all good. Already burned one bridge with a wrestler. That's all good. Anyway, it sucks. The thing about Punk being a literal Hulk Hogan na gets to have all this backstage power and gets to run the show backstage, quote unquote. It's all bad. We've seen this happen before. I'm sure Punk is gonna fire back at these rumors because whenever somebody says bad shit about him, he's gonna use his platform to fire back. So for sure, may sasabihin siya on Collision this Saturday, Sunday. So you can expect that. Well, I think what he says, depending on what he says, I think that will prove or disprove some or all of these rumors. Diba? I don't know. I think at this point we all know that Punk is super toxic. The fact that these things are being brought up, remember, they have to be rooted in truth somewhere, even if they're not the whole truth. Maybe even if we don't know what the whole truth is, these things don't just happen out of nowhere. They don't just emerge from the ether out of nowhere. So, because may pinanggagalingan siya somehow, I don't consider them as fully false, even if they're not fully true, if that makes sense. So all of that shows that Punk is really super toxic. And again, TK is letting all of this happen because may investment diba? Collision is getting good reviews from a good part of the wrestling fandom because it's different, because it's Punk's boys club and girls club. Because they are the ones running the show, they get to keep it within their family and then parang ensure a certain level of quality to the matches. So it's like a dictatorship, but whether or not it's benevolent is up to you and where you stand with Punk. Diba? So I don't like it. History has told us that these things aren't sustainable. WCW has told us these things aren't sustainable. I've also had firsthand experience that says that this is at least a recipe for disaster. So it's not a good look. And the fact, it sucks that the trade-off is you get a good product in Collision, and a lot of people are willing to overlook this behavior and this environment, even if it's not true that it's all his behavior. They're willing to turn a blind eye just because the wrestling is good. I get that. I'm not innocent of that either when it comes to other people, to other artists and celebrities. But it just sucks. I guess I can't cast that stone because I've done it myself. But at some point, I think this will eventually again torpedo the company somehow, and I think Tony Khan shouldn't keep tempting fate here.
All right, ikaw, Emil, in your first official show as a show host, are you gonna go on a rant here?
First of all, I am tired of all this CM Punk drama. And it has gotten so bad for me na I know there's algorithm thing on Twitter, pero mas lumalabas pa yung mga tweets about Punk rather than the actual AEW in-ring product, which is bad.
Ba't ka kasi nasa for you? Doon ka sa following.
That's my fault, I guess. Pero yun yung lumalabas eh. Yun yung lumalabas sa akin eh. And you know, who kasi ang boss dito si TK. Mas nainis ako kay Tony Khan actually than CM Punk because he's the one who's letting this all happen, and you know, he's letting Punk get away with it without some sort of accountability or maybe little accountability whatsoever. Kasi you're the boss, do something. Like if you're seeing that the backstage climate isn't that good, then he should do something about it because he's the boss. You know, who the hell Punk thinks he is? Is he the boss? Is he the one paying these wrestlers? Now he can be the one sending them home or something. You know, so you know, TK. I've been saying this ever since last year. TK has to put his foot down and be the boss for once. If he's the boss for everyone else, then Punk should not be an exception, even though he's one of the stars. He should not be an exception.
Again,
I hate to break it to you, but it's not always like that, diba? Some animals will always be more equal than others.
Yeah. I just wanted to address Ina. She says that sometimes wrestling journalism gets out of control. That's why I said what I said. Now, even if this isn't completely 100% true that what we're hearing, it's also not 100% false. Kasi yun nga, may pinanggagalingan tong mga bali-balitang to, tong mga chismis na to. So, I'm willing to believe that part of it is true, and the part we want to be true is true. Because otherwise, then why bring it up in the first place? I mean, like,
Yeah.
why is it a rumor that is out in the wild in the first place? Because if it wasn't, then we wouldn't. I think nobody would get it out.
All I'm going to say about it, other than having recapped everything in bullet points at the start of this conversation, is na something Emil said kanina na there's a lot of talk about with regard to the in-ring product of AEW, and it's a shame na this has to take precedence over it. Kasi it's also a disservice to the guys and girls who are busting their tails out there for our entertainment.
Yeah, I agree.
Saka I feel like this is a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Like, this is only a start of something worse that's gonna happen, and TK needs to do something before it can get to that toxic levels of things.
Yeah, that's why I said it's gonna torpedo the company eventually. Because it really is high school drama. Like, it's embarrassing. It's not to say that it's the only high school drama in town, but it's the biggest one right now. Because it's a whole bunch of egos being left unchecked, and when you leave CM Punk unchecked, then whether or not these things are true, he will still be the same kind of asshole that he's proudly showing himself to be.
All right.
Question. I have a question. Kasi is AEW being young? Like, kasi mas na yung mga journalists they go more, parang mas madaling kumalat yung mga backstage news sa AEW. Is this something because AEW is such a young company compared to WWE, where it's a corporation and maybe bad news doesn't get out as much as... Yeah.
Back in the day, before you were a wrestling fan, I heard all the bad stuff. Diba?
Okay.
And then, syempre, all the documentaries, all the Dark Side of the Rings have shown us that even when WWE was quote-unquote young, there was a lot of this bad behavior already. So it's not a matter of being young. It's not a matter of journalism as well, because the journalists have also managed to get stuff out from WWE before. So hindi yun eh. It's really a matter of them not controlling themselves, and I guess not having a strong structure in place to figure shit out, diba? And enforce professionalism. So yun lang. Yun yung sad part about it. Kasi it holds so much promise for a lot of people, but then the backstage environment isn't all that, whether or not it's CM Punk's fault, diba? So it's a story I've heard too many times throughout this industry.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna cap it there before we burn even more bridges in the wonderful world of wrestling.
Yep.
All right, we've got the audio-only version coming up on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. That'll feature bonus conversations on Chris Jericho's decision with regard to the Don Callis family, the feud with Will Ospreay. Mustafa Ali, he's going to get some love on the podcast because we are fans of Mustafa Ali, as you can see from Rose's background here on the call. And we'll also give you our thoughts on NXT Heatwave, particularly that big NXT Championship match between Carmelo Hayes and Wesley. Before we end the live stream proper, Emil, as a new official show host, may plugs ka ba?
Wala naman akong plugs. I would just like to invite as well some of yung mga viewers, yung mga listeners natin to watch the Road to Fate, MWF Road to Fate on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Me and Rowan are going to be watching there, so if you see us, come, please say hi.
Yeah.
Di kayo na. Kayo na
Really appreciate that
celebrity.
plug. Oh.
Also
Sila yung mga-
you guys.
Hindi, sila yung wrestling journalists eh. We have to respect them. No, very seriously, bili kayo ng tickets, guys. Pwede pa naman on Ticket to Me. They're still available online. You can also get your tickets at the door. So that's this Sunday. I believe it's at 4 p.m. at the Power Max Center Spotlight
4:30
Black
p.m.
Box Theater. Thank you. 4:30 p.m. At Circuit Makati. So if you've never been there for whatever reason, there's a Google Maps pin for Power Max Center Spotlight, Black Box Theater. Just Google those 6 words. You'll find it right away. And yeah, we can't wait to see you at the show. Kami, I'm going to speak for Oro Plata Mata. We've got some new merch that we're dropping this weekend, and we hope that you find it in your wallets to support our little group.
I will not be there at the show, unfortunately. So please enjoy. Have fun. It's going to be fun. Wrestling in Power Max Center is always great. It's one of the greatest venues for wrestling in the Philippines. So please enjoy it. It's going to be fun. support local wrestling and all that good stuff. Diba?
Yeah. Tell the people about your latest episode and the spice that you brought.
Yeah. Latest episode of Unmasked, The Chronicles of Romaran and Sandata is now up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. So in this episode 10, the third to the last episode of the season, we will I talk about the infamous Batanes debacle that saw almost the entire roster stranded in the remote north.
Hindi kami kasi sinuwerte kami.
Hindi kami. Yeah. As my thing says, di ako sumama. So it was because of a lack of due diligence of that administration that sila na strand doon. And it's not something to laugh at. We laugh at it now, but it was a really harrowing experience for all of them because they didn't know if they were going to come back in time. Not ever, pero in time for their jobs, for school, all that stuff.
For their families, all that stuff.
They were only supposed to be there for a weekend, so yun yung story. And because of that, that led to the first ever and only match, I think, that was canceled because of a default in Philippine wrestling. So a lot of fun stories and eventually the downfall of that administration. So yeah, listen to that. Unmask the Chronicles of Romaran and Sandata. We'll be recording the last 2 episodes of the season, and the last episode of the season will be a Q&A. So please get your questions in to my NGL link. Just go to my Instagram at shang.daddy and post your questions in private. Siyempre, we're not gonna know who you are. So, ask away. And if there's anything you want to know about me, about what I did, about me as a wrestler, about the wrestling profession, just ask away. We'll answer them on the episode that will come out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, shout out to the Wrestling Gods, the show that Ro and I worked on through 2016 and 2017, which you'll also get to hear about in that episode that Ro just described. Go check out that episode. That show was something that we were proud to be a part of, warts and all. On my end naman, if you're following Heel Season 2, post-show recaps, nandun yung recap namin ni Grace Leader about that show. So we really try to explain things for the non-wrestling fans who might be watching Heels and might be interested to see Stephen Amell and Alexander Ludwig in the ring. Medyo light pa yung tone ng season, so it's still fun for me to recap. So I hope it stays that way. And Season 2 is taking a bit of a turn narratively, which I'm actually enjoying, mostly because of Jack Spade not thinking about the consequences of his actions. So if you're enjoying Heel Season 2, I hope you can also enjoy yung conversations that we have when we recap the show on post-show recaps. And I'm not going to be part of the podcast for the next few weeks because of the FIBA Basketball World Cup. So, tamang-tama yung pagka-promote ni Emil. But for those of you who will be either at the Philippine Arena or at the Araneta Coliseum or even at the MOA Arena, please come say hi if you ever see me there. Don't be shy. Don't be a stranger because there's going to be so many people there. I'm probably going to be nervous as hell. So, it'll be nice to see a friendly and familiar face. So, for those who will be at the games, kita-kita tayo at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much to Babyface producer Jasper, as always, for being the man at the controls, and every other producer over at the Pod Network for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. Thank you to everyone for checking out the podcast, whether you're listening or streaming or following us or even supporting us with your money over on Patreon. Thank you very much for everything you do for us here on the Wrestling Podcast. You can get all of our social media content over on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Wrestling Podcast. On Twitter and on TikTok, it is at Wrestling2XPod. Individually, it is at Rowiswar, at Chino Supersized, at EML_Meister, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stan C. For Ro Moran and Emil Nate, the newly promoted show host, my name is Stan C. Thank you for checking out the Wrestling Podcast. Stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast, out. Bye-bye.
Peace.